Hello and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, we will be taking a look at how we can use the Vim editor. So the first thing I want to do is to check if Vim is installed on my system. To do that on Ubuntu, we'll type this command. So we'll type command space -v space and we'll put the word Vim and we'll press enter. If you press enter and get a path, it means that Vim is installed on your server. But if you didn't get a path, then you can install Vim. Let's suppose that you don't have Vim installed on your Ubuntu server. The first thing you want to do will be to refresh your app repository index. To do that, you type sudo space app update and then you press enter. And then you put in your password and you press enter. And that will refresh your app repository index. So we'll give it a few seconds. Once that is complete, the next thing we want to do is install Vim. So to install Vim, we do sudo space app space install Vim, and then we'll press enter, and that will install Vim. But because I currently have Vim already installed on my system, so it tells me 0 newly installed. But this will be how you will install Vim if you didn't have it already installed. So once that is done, the next thing we can do is to just double check if Vim is installed. So we just repeat that command, -v space Vim, and we'll press enter, and then we'll get a path. Once you see the path, like I said, it means that Vim is installed on your Ubuntu server. With that being said, I will clear my screen. To open Vim, we just need to type the command Vim and press enter. It opens Vim. When Vim is open, we are currently in the normal mode. The next thing is to just look in the middle of the screen to see what Vim stands for. Vim stands for VI Improved. So Vim is an improved version of the VI editor. To quit out of Vim, we need to press colon, and then that will take us to the bottom of the screen. So you'll notice that there's a colon at the bottom of the screen. You put the letter Q for quit, and then you put an exclamation mark, and you press enter, and it's going to quit. Next thing is that we can use Vim to edit a file or to create a file. So the first thing I want us to do is to just go to the SSH configuration file and just use Vim to take a look at it. Because in our previous video, when we did edit the SSH configuration file, what we used the nano editor to edit that file. So I would like for us to use Vim to perform a similar functionality, just to have some practical experience of how Vim works. To do that, we can just put the command Vim and then put the path. So the path to the SSH configuration file, if you remember, is /etc/ssh/sshd_config. And we press enter. So like I said, when you first use Vim to enter an existing file, you are in what is considered as the normal mode. So within the normal mode, you can use the up arrow, the up and down arrow, and left and right to just navigate through the file. Whilst at the top of the screen, you'll notice at the bottom right, there is a number 1 here. So it tells you that the cursor is currently on line 1. And then if I press the down arrow, it comes to the second line, that number changes. And then it changes to 3, it comes to 4, it comes to 5. So I'm on line 5. And then if I press the right arrow key, it tells you the position of the cursor. So the cursor is moving and the number is increasing. So I can keep pressing the down arrow, it will come down. So that's how you will move within the file with the arrow keys. Okay. So now we are in this file. To exit this file, when we put colon, the cursor will move at the bottom of the screen. If you didn't make any changes to the file, you can just put Q and press enter, it will quit the file. But if you did make some changes to the file, you need to put Q and then put an exclamation mark in order to quit. So for us, we didn't perform any changes to the file, so we can simply put Q and then we'll press enter. We are outside of the file. Since the file is very important to the Linux system, it's a configuration file, What I would recommend is for you as a new user of Vim, I recommend that we make a copy of the file and then we can use the copy to make some editing changes and play around with it using Vim, so that in case there is an accident, you know that your file is safe. So the first thing to do is just to copy that file. So we'll just use our copy command and make a copy of the file. I'm just going to copy it, space, and I'll just put the same path and then put a name for the copy. So I'm just going to put copy here to say that this is the copy. So I'll press enter. Okay, so this is a configuration file. So we got permission denied. We need to begin the command with sudo. Now we'll press enter and copy the file. So when we do ls, we are at the user home directory. So let us cd into /etc/ssh. And then now we are into that directory. Then when we do ls, we can see that we have our copy. So with all what we will be doing for our practice with Vim, we will use the copy version of this file so that we just don't mess up with the real file. This is just a safe way of playing around with the configuration file and not really messing up with the real configuration file. So we'll use that. Okay. So with that being said, let us put Vim and then we'll just copy the name of the file and paste it. So to simply copy at the terminal here, you can just highlight what you want to type. When you right click, it copies, and then when you right click again, it pastes. So now we are at that file and then we'll press enter, and now we are in the file. I'm just going to quit the file. I remember that because the file is a configuration file, you should begin with sudo space vim, or else you wouldn't be able to make changes to it. We'll just press enter, and now we are back into the file. Once we enter into a file with Vim, we are in normal mode. So in normal mode, we can use the arrow key to move around. So now we have used Vim to enter into the backup copy of our SSH configuration file. So I will just use the down arrow to come to this line port 22. In order to activate this line, we need to get rid of the hash that is at the beginning. So to do that, while you are in the normal mode, you just press X on your keyboard. X is for xylophone. So if I press X, it's going to delete the character at the right side of the cursor. So now port 22 is activated and the color has changed to green. So because we made that change, in order to save the changes to the file, we need to switch from the normal mode we are in to the command mode. To do that, you need to use colon. So when you use colon, it comes down at the bottom of the screen. To save the file is to use W. W is for write. So you are writing to the file, which is for save. So if I just put W and press enter, it's going to save the changes, but will keep the file open. So I will just press enter, and as you can see, the changes has been saved. It tells you at the bottom that the changes has been written to the file, but we are still in the file. So let's say I come down to this line that has listen address and I want to get rid of the hash. Another way to get rid of the hash is you can switch to insert mode. So to switch to insert mode, you press I on your keyboard. So I press I, and notice at the bottom when I press I, it changes to insert. Insert mode will be the mode that you will switch to if you need to add some information to the file. So now in insert mode, I can use the arrow key to come to the right of the hash and then do backspace, or I could have just stayed to the left and just use the delete key to delete, and then that line now is active. But mind you, because I'm in the insert mode, I cannot just switch from insert straight to command mode, because if I press colon, it's going to put colon at the beginning of the line. So I don't want that, so I will backspace. So in order to switch from insert mode to come back to normal mode, you press the escape key. When I press escape, you will notice that the insert has disappeared from the bottom. Now that I'm in normal mode, then I can use colon to come to the bottom and then I can save my changes. So the first time when we save, we just use W, which saved the changes but kept the file open. This time around, we want to save changes and exit at the same time. To do that, you use W for save and then Q for quit. So when you press enter, you notice that it's saved. So I'm going to go back into the file again. So let's say I'm on this line 17 that has listen address, and I want to open a new line at the bottom and start to insert content. So what I can do is just to press the letter O. It's going to open a new line. At the same time, it's going to automatically switch to insert mode. So you notice there is insert at the bottom of the screen. So I can say this is a new line. And then once that is done, I can press escape, switch back to normal mode, and I press colon to come to the bottom. And if I put Q and press enter, because I updated this file, when I put Q and press enter, it's going to tell me no write since last change. So if I'm sure of quitting without saving the changes, I have to add an exclamation mark at the end of the Q. So I'm going to press escape again and press colon, and I'll put Q and put an exclamation mark. In this case, when I press enter, it's going to exit without saving. And if we repeat the command and enter, we will notice that what we enter is no more dead. So I'm just going to press O to open a new line, and then I will put hash. This is a new line. I will press escape to come to normal mode, and I'll use colon to come to the bottom. So W is to write and Q is to quit. So once you are saving and quitting, then you don't need to put the exclamation mark. But if you are just quitting without saving changes, and you are sure of doing that, then you have to put the error mark after the Q. That is for write and quit, or save and quit. Another command to just do all of that is to use X. So X will both save and exit. So you can either use W and Q to write and quit, or you can just use X to write and quit. So when I press enter, it's going to exit. So I will go back into the file. Another thing I want to show you is how we can perform a search within a file. So let's say I want to come to this line that has pop key authentication. So I'm just going to go back to the top. Let's say I'm at the top. What you can do is to come to command mode with colon, and you put a /, and then you put a word that you want to search. So let's suppose that I want to search for authentication. I can just put AUTH. When I press enter, it's going to move the mouse straight to the first occurrence of that word authentication, as we can see. So that's a way that you can search within a file. Another thing we could do is we can press insert. So let's say I want to put something between the authentication and the yes. I can bring the cursor to that spot and then press insert, and then I can just start to insert our content right at that place. So I can just say this is a new content. So I'm just messing around with the file because I know it's a backup, right? So after that, I can press escape. It's going to switch back to normal mode. Then another way for me to save and quit is to just press capital Z twice. Z as in Z for zebra. So I will use shift and press Z twice. ZZ is going to quit. So I'm going to go back into the file and press capital E. I'm at the line pop key, so you notice that the changes is here. So those are a few ways that you can save and quit. One, you can use W and Q. So W is for write and Q is for quit. Or you can use X to save and quit. Or you can use capital Z twice. You use the capital Z not from the command mode, but from the normal mode. So it's completely up to you which option you want to use. So we know how to move around, and we know how to just delete things without switching to insert. It's just for you to come to the left of the character you want to delete, and you just use the X for xylophone, and it's going to delete that. And then you can come back. Let's say I want to delete this T. I come to the left for T and I press X. It's going to delete the T. So again, I'm going to press escape, colon, come to the bottom, put Q. I don't want to save. I put exclamation mark, press enter. So this is how you use Vim to mess around with an existing file. So I will just going to switch to this user home directory. I will clear my screen. Another thing we can do is to create a new file with the Vim command. To do that, you just put the word Vim and press space and just put the name of the file. So let's say we put the name of the file as file1.txt. If the file doesn't exist, it's just going to create the file. So when I press enter, it's just going to open the file and it's a blank file. So as we enter the file, we said that we are in normal mode. In order to start adding content to this file, we just switch to insert mode by pressing R for insert. And then at the bottom, we notice there is insert. And then we can see this is the first line. We'll press enter so we can come to the next line. This is the second line, third line, fourth line. And once we are done, we press escape to go back to normal mode. We will use colon to come to the bottom, and we can put X to save and quit. So we'll do that, and then we put cat and we put file1.txt and we press enter. We can see the content of the file. So that's how you can use Vim to create a file. And then we can use Vim again to go back into the file. We can open a new line with O. So when I press O, it's going to open a new line. So wherever the cursor is, it's just going to open a new line right below the current location of the cursor. So I can say this is another line. I can go up. So let's say I'm on the second line. As you can see at the bottom right, I'm on the second line. So if I press O, it's going, I need to be in normal mode to do that. So I go by normal mode by pressing escape, and then when I press O, then it opens a new line below the current location, which was line 2. So that's what you would do, and then I can press escape to come to normal mode. I'll press shift and press ZZ twice. It's going to quit and save, and then we can use cat to confirm that it did save the changes, which is yeah. So another thing we can do, we can go back into that file. So let's say I am on line 4 at this place, and I press O to open a new line. And let's say I type something there, quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So after entering this content, I'll press escape to come to the normal mode. And let's say after putting that line, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. If I want to undo that, I will just press U on my keyboard. So I press U, is going to undo that. If I want to redo that, I will just press Control and arrow to redo. So it come back. So Control plus arrow to redo, and just U, which is small u, to undo, because there's a different function for capital U. Again, there are tons of things that we can use Vim to do. If we try to do all of them in this video is going to be longer than an hour. So I just wanted to show some basic things. Another thing we can do is to copy and paste a line. So let's suppose we want to copy and paste line 5, which is the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Whilst we are at line 5 in normal mode, we can just use the letter Y for Yankee and press that twice. It's going to copy the entire line. So I'll press YY. If we want to paste what we copied below line 7, we can just use the letter P for paste and just going to paste right below it. So that's how you can paste. And also, let's suppose we come up to line 3. If you use capital P, Shift and P, it's going to paste above. So to paste above the location of the cursor is to use Shift and P. To paste below the location of the cursor is to just use P. So these are the little things that you just have to remember. So that brings an end to today's video. Like I said, there are tons of things that we can do with the VI command. But this is just a brief introduction of the VI command. So I hope you found this video useful. Make sure to like the video if you like it. If you have any question or suggestion of any topic that you want us to cover, make sure to leave that in the comment section below. Make sure to share this video with someone who will find it useful. And as always, take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.